Carli J Myers, I've spoken to you before. I've spoken to you on my show before, but it's nice to actually have a nice sit down with you and a more in-depth discussion. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm really great. Thank you so much for asking. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. I'm good. If we kind of start from the beginning, I mean, you've got a lot going on now, and we'll get to that. But if we start off from the beginning, where did Carli J Myers begin? And where did the journey begin?
My journey in music, sure, that
Mm,
began long ago. Growing up as a young little girl, growing up in a musical family, and yeah, band practice with the brothers and the cousins and the dad, and just like learning about music and dance. My mom was a professional dancer as well. My dad is also a professional musician. And I just grew up with surrounded by music, and every opportunity I had to develop and hone my craft, I took, and that took me into a high school of and primary school of plays and concerts and singing lessons and dancing lessons, and eventually took music as a matric subject at school. And I studied music after school before I started studying psychology and law. And I've just been always involved in the music, and then was really fortunate enough to release my first single through a label. Started writing music with my dad, as he's an incredible songwriter, and the journey just kind of began. It's been
absolutely.
a journey, yeah. It really, really has. I'm very fortunate.
And tell me about the writing music with your dad. I mean, you've done a lot of that. All the King's Horses you wrote with your dad,
Yeah, yeah.
which is a single that you have released. But I mean, tell us about writing with your dad. Is there ever a difference in opinions or a
There's
conflict?
always. No, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's always differences of opinions, but we've been working together for so long that we know our strengths, and it's been a real privilege to write music with my dad. It's allowed us a space to connect and develop a relationship that we otherwise wouldn't have. I mean, we'd still have always a strong relationship, but to connect through music is a very special place. So it's been wonderful. I've learned so much from my dad. He's so incredibly talented. He's a guitarist, he's a singer, he's a songwriter, and he's really good at all of them. So just kind of being like mentored by him, and I always there's a few people in my life whose opinion in the music industry really counts for me, and I'll always like play them stuff before anybody else hears it, and he's a part of that team. We've since opened a record label and publishing company, and we've just been on that journey together. So it's been very special writing music with him. Yeah, it's lovely, and it's also grown over time and developed.
That's also what I wanted to talk about. We'll also get onto that a little bit later on. Your current projects and what you're busy with at the moment. Okay, so getting into music with your dad, then you released songs. You went overseas. Just tell us about your trips overseas as well.
So I've been very fortunate to travel overseas quite a lot for my music, and I've written and worked with producers and songwriters and artists in Los Angeles, in New York City, and in Toronto, and it's been an incredible journey. I've that kind of feeling of walking into a room with people and meeting people that you've never met, and suddenly having this space to be creative with them, but also writing music's can be a very vulnerable place as well, where it's very personal. It's very like it's like a white piece of paper that you can put anything on. And when I feel that the best music comes from somewhere like internal, and being able to tap into that, like requires a lot from somebody. And I've just loved the process that I've had, where I walk into a room where people I don't know, and there's this immediate look. I've been very fortunate to work with unbelievably talented people, but also high caliber, like people as human beings.
Mm.
And amazing for me how pretty much every session I've had, I walk in and it's just an immediate sense of just respect, And just there's just like an openness that everybody has to, let's create, what are we writing today, let's create, and let's bring what we have, and everyone leaves their egos and their history and their accomplishments at the door, and it's like, what are we going to do today, and that's been a wonderful experience for me. I've learned so much from it, from the people I've worked with overseas, and everybody has such a different experience and a different background and different culture. And when you can bring all of that into the room, you've got like a million times more potential to create something beautiful, because everyone's got their bit to add and their experience. So when you leverage off everybody's strengths and everybody's backgrounds, you set yourself up for success. I've loved it. I've loved working overseas. Feel very privileged to have worked with the people I have.
But I think you emit that as well. That energy of confidence, that energy of positivity as well, which is great.
Thank you.
And I think that comes across, and maybe that makes it easier for people to work with you. And that's why when you come across all these people who have been incredibly friendly and respectful and helpful, it's also because of what you emit as well.
Thanks, Paul. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. I believe in being authentic. It's really important to me. So, if I can bring that into the room, it's definitely not me on my own. It takes many people as are there to work together and to produce something. But everybody, I don't know. I've loved working with people and just being inspired by people. And it's a real, I don't know, it's bloody awesome. You can travel across the world and be like, I don't know, I remember when I was in Toronto, this is where Just Doing Me was born, and I'm like, it was the conference and the Canadian Music Week conference, and I was walking the streets and there was just like big buildings everywhere and there was hustle bustle. I was like, wow, where am I, kind of thing. It was so inspiring, and like there's just people and buzz and energy, and that feeds me so much. I'm definitely an extrovert, so
sure.
The world is just contagious for me.
So I'm gathering with the passion that you speak about it, that your trips overseas aren't done.
Oh no, I'm just waiting for the borders to open.
Have you got any plans? Is there anywhere specific you still want to go?
Yeah, there's plenty places I want to go. But I have been writing during lockdown online with people, and it's amazing how we're able to do that, but it's not as fun. I've loved it. I love the sessions, and they're also awesome and inspiring, but there's less kind of contagious energy that's exchanged when you're in person. I think everyone can relate to that these days. But we've still been writing, but it's just a bit different. So I can't wait to connect with all my friends. I've made friends over through writing with people, and I can't wait to connect with them again and write with them again and to connect with new people. So yeah, I can't wait. That's something I'm definitely looking forward to.
Awesome. And you've obviously, you've studied and you've worked and you've, music has been there. Music's been something you've focused on, but it hasn't been your whole life up until now. At what point did you decide, okay, I need to quit my job and I need to focus on this fully? And what brought that decision about?
Well, look, I'm the kind of person that like always works. I'm inspired by variety, and I'm inspired by life in general. So I don't necessarily see myself as one thing. I see myself as in many ways. I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a psychologist, I'm a consultant, I'm a daughter, a partner, a friend, a sibling, and all those aspects of my life feed into the person I am, and they feed into my creativity, and they inspire me. So I don't see humans, never mind myself, as a psychologist, I don't see people as linear. I think they're all very complex, and very multifaceted and multidimensional. So I see myself in that way too. I love the work that I do as a psychologist. I love the fact that I can impact people in their work environment and create connections and form spaces for people to feel more engaged and fulfilled in their jobs. That's something that's very important to me. And I think I can't really take that out of who I am. It's who I am. Wanting to make an impact in the world and wanting to help people feel more connected to who they are is a part of my purpose. So it's definitely something that I will continue to do because I feel it brings me fulfillment and it also allows me to give back to people. But at the same time, I'm so thrilled to have space in my life to be able to pursue something I'm so passionate about and to build something that I can see grow. And when I started in the music industry, it was like it's like with anything. When we start anything, it's an experiment, right? It's like that I want to do that, let me just try. And you kind of you create this little baby, at least in the music. I see it like that. I work on the song that only I hear or my small team around me, that I trust. And eventually we get to a point where I'm like, okay, I think it's ready to be released, and we take this little thing and we say, okay, it's now yours, you can share it with me. And you're not sure how it's going to be received. So when it's well received, like a lot of my music has been, I'm so fortunate to see that it impact other people, and that's when it gives me a different fulfillment than anything else. I can feel the impact and I can feel the happiness that it brings to others when they contact me and say that song meant something to me and that made me feel something. There's nothing better than that. So, and that's that seed of it growing, and then you want to do more of that and you start to build, and to be able to focus my attention on building something that's important to me is such a gift. It's such a privilege.
Do you ever feel self-conscious when you are about to release a song and you think to yourself, you mentioned you don't know how it's going to be received. I mean, do you ever feel self-conscious? Are you ever like, what if people don't like it? Or do you just think, well, if they don't like it, they don't like it?
I think everybody cares a little bit. I think caring means that you have feelings, right? Yeah. And that important to you. I think if you put so much hard work into something and you don't care at all if anybody likes it, I feel like that's not possible. Like I feel like everyone cares. But removing oneself or maybe refocusing one's thoughts and approach to what they're doing into why they're doing it is really important. So if you're only doing it for other people, then if it's not well received, it's going to hurt. It's going to sting. Mm-hmm. But if you're doing it for yourself as well, and you're doing it for others, and you're doing it for a greater purpose, or whatever your why is, and whatever means something to you, then people's perspectives on it and people's opinions on it can impact you. But they also have a place. You can put them on the wall and say, okay, I'm really, 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 really thrilled that you love it, or I'm really like a little sad that maybe you don't, but that's okay. I think it just depends on your approach to it. And for me, it's really about seeing it in perspective. And of course, I want people to love my music.
Yes.
It's an honor when people love my music, and when awesome stations like Hot FM bring it to the top of the charts. I mean, like, could you ask for anything more?
Absolutely, absolutely. Goodness me. On that note, please vote. Yeah.
Please vote.
Has your background in psychology helped your music career?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And my music career has helped my career in psychology and in consulting. Because like I said earlier, we're one person, right? Yes. And our experiences shape who we are. And I learn things every day in both my professions and both my crafts that I apply in the other one. And I think the understanding human beings and understanding just our human behavior has helped me tremendously in writing music, and the work that I do as a consultant and as an industrial psychologist in the business space helps me tremendously in how I manage my business in the music industry. there's always a difference in industry, and I think anyone that works across different industries will understand that industries show up differently, but there's always some commonalities that apply. And at the end of the day, we're working with human beings in our lives. And if you understand humans and you understand that we all have strengths and areas that we need to develop, and if we can learn to play to people's strengths, and learn to work with people who are different from us, that's hugely beneficial. And I find I learn that every day.
And you're big into fitness as well, and
yes.
and health. And are you a vegan or a vegetarian? Because I think the way I understand it, you're a vegetarian who's striving to be a vegan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm a very strict vegetarian. I've never tasted meat, fish, chicken, eggs. Like, it's just not something that I was brought up on. And when I was old enough to choose, I didn't want to. For me, it was really important. I believe it's healthier. And from a moral perspective, I didn't like the concept of eating animals. So yeah, I think if you know what you're doing and you understand health well enough, it's probably healthier to be a vegetarian. And then in recent, as the years have gone on, I've been more aspiring to be a vegan, to cut out the dairy side of it, which I find hard.
Oh, that's tough.
But I have cut out, I just eat less of it. So for me, I'm plant-based, very strict vegetarian, but generally speaking, I guess if you want to put a label to it, I'm vegetarian and plant-based. Yeah, my boyfriend is very strictly vegan, so he helps inspire the lack of dairy choices. At the end of the day, it's about health, and it's about looking after our bodies and looking after our minds, and what we ingest into our bodies facilitates or maybe inhibits our performance. So I try and be mindful of that and live a balanced life. It's very important to me.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about your music, and then we'll get on to your current projects. But let's talk about your music. Clutch 2014. I mean, let's go back there. Yeah. That's when you started. When you first released that, what was it like releasing your first song?
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing, and it was terrifying at the same time. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, we went into studio, we recorded the song, I did an incredible shoot with Grazia magazine back then, and they did a first feature of me and in the magazines, and it was a proper dream come true. I didn't know what was going on, I was like suddenly in photo shoots and in magazines and in newspapers, and my music was accepted onto radio, and I was like, oh my God. And driving around being like, oh my God, you're on the radio. And I was like, what? It was exhilarating. It was such a dream. It really and Clutch went to #1
awesome.
On Amazing in the country. And I remember my family and friends threw me a surprise celebration party when it topped the charts. And I remember saying to my mom, I was like, this will never happen again. Like, I'll never have a debut #1. Like, please God, I'll have, many more #1s. But this is an incredible feeling,
Absolutely.
And I just being so grounded and having so much gratitude for just having the space and opportunity to do that, to be able to put my voice out there, and people liked it, and people were listening to it. Radio stations were playing it. It was such an honor. My goodness. I remember I was in my master's year when I released that song, and back and forth from lectures, and I was like, it was amazing. It was really a cool experience.
Has that novelty of hearing your song on the radio worn off yet?
Definitely not. There is nothing. Yeah, I think I keep saying that there's nothing better than, but it truly is an incredible experience when you're driving and and then you hear what's happened to me a few times, where I hear the intro of my song and I'm like, wait, what? And I was like, oh my God, that's coming from the radio. And back then when you used to listen to a lot of CDs, I was like, oh my God, there's no CD playing. That's on the radio.
The only thing I can compare that to is if my phone's ringtone, if the actual song comes on and I think it's the phone's ringtone, and I look at my phone expecting it, But
Yes, exactly.
it must, no. In all seriousness, if it's something you've written, it must be an awesome feeling.
Oh my word. Yeah, it really is. And when somebody like, when you're listening to music with someone and they like, I don't know, sometimes they'll play my music while I'm around without telling me. Like they'll always wait for my reaction because I'm not expecting it. And I usually have this like, oh, like, where's that coming from?
That's very, very
gives
cool.
everyone a bit of a kick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very, very wonderful experience and feeling to hear my music on the radio, especially when you're not expecting it. It's wonderful.
And tell us about All the King's Horses with your dad.
Yeah, All the King's Horses was awesome. You know how that one, so my dad and I were working on the song whenever it was, I think it was like 2015 or somewhere around then. We were working on the song and, you know, writing it and conceptualizing and tweaking and all of that. And then I ended up taking a trip to Los Angeles. And I was staying with a friend of mine that I had met randomly on a trip in Israel, like years back. We both met on the bus and we ended up forming this very special friendship that we would kind of connect once a year when I was in the States. And I was staying at her and we went to a community, like a weekend event, like a Shabbat type of thing. And I met this guy there who happened to be a producer, and we ended up chatting for the whole afternoon and about music and all the things he had done and I had done. And long story short, the next thing I knew, we were in studio and he was producing the song. And you know, just a bit of a demo, and we were like figuring it out. And as it kind of progressed, the next thing we loved what he was doing, and he produced the song and took it back to South Africa and was like, what do you think? To all my friends and to my music friends and to my team, and everyone loved it and we're like, okay, let's go with it. And I released it, and again it was well received, and I was privileged enough to work with a fashion film director, Adrian Lazarus, and shoot a music video, a high fashion film music video, which was just also another dream milestone for me. You know, like running around Cape Town filming in these like places. Theawaterskloof is in there, and all these like, you know, random spots that I remember the one time we were driving, we were like, that's a beautiful place with the flowers on the side of the road are gorgeous. Let's shoot. So I couldn't believe it. There I was sitting in the boot of a car with like half of a face of makeup on and my face, and we're changing and we're like climbing over fences to get to the flowers and filming, and it was amazing. And that music video was chosen to enter into an international competition that won, and it was
brilliant.
I was so chuffed. It was such a cool experience. Yeah, I could talk about it forever.
You actually ended up having a song a year. I don't know if you've noticed that pattern.
Yes.
Okay, so every year a different song. So like you can just point to a specific year and there's a different song. Walls then came out. And personally for me, I mean, I like your other songs, but Walls is special. I think Walls is a really good song, and it's a nice feel-good song. It's something that somebody can listen to if they're feeling a little bit down, and they can really feel a little bit better. Is that the idea of Walls?
Thank you. That means a fortune to me. Walls is a very, very special song to me. It's a very unique song for me. I wrote it actually with the same guy that I produced All the King's Horses with when I was back in Los Angeles. And Walls is really about the experience I observed and was inspired by my sister. My sister is probably one of the most inspirational people to me. She's inspired me tremendously. And unfortunately, she went through a very serious car accident a few years back. And the journey that I watched her go through, and the strength and resilience that she showed through that process, she wouldn't own it. She would say she had no choice, and that, you know, she doesn't understand why I'm so inspired by it. But the truth is that she just demonstrated a sense of inner strength and the decision to just, you know, move forward in life. and achieve what she set her mind to achieve. And she turned things around in the most humbling and powerful way I've ever seen. And she's gone on to do such incredible things from a very, very difficult experience. And that inspired me to write Walls, because I looked at her and I just thought, you know, if you put your mind to something, you're bigger than any wall that's in front of you.
Yes.
You know, when you can, like, life has a way of really challenging us, particularly in today's times. There's a lot of difficulties going on in the world, and you know, a lot of it's not necessarily in our control, but what is in our control, we're far more capable and able than often we give ourselves credit for. And she taught me that. So yeah, Walls is a very, very, very personal song, and I owe that to my sister.
Yeah, when you think you've reached your limit, you realize there's more. You're able to achieve more further than your supposed limit.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can do anything we put our minds to. And yeah, my sister, my best friend, she's like my partner.
That's very, very cool.
Yeah.
And then Crazy was quite successful.
Yes.
Tell us about Crazy.
Sure, you really are taking me down memory lane.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Wow. Okay, so Crazy happened because I got a call one day. A year or two before Crazy, I attended the Music Exchange conference in Cape Town. And I was privileged enough to meet Brandon Bakshi there, who at the time was the president of BMI. And BMI, so Brandon called me up a little while after the conference and said to me, I remember I was at work and I got this strange number, this call from this number that was, I think, the 441 or something from the UK. And I was like, who's phoning me? Turned out Brandon. And yeah, he invited me to attend a songwriting camp, my first ever songwriting camp in Cape Town, where 12 South African, or there were a few international artists there too, but yeah, 12 individuals, either writers or producers or artists. And I was so honored to be selected onto that camp, and it was the most inspiring and enriching experience. We had 5 days where every single day we would wake up. Firstly, we were staying in Camps Bay, which, I mean, God, you couldn't, it was staying. And we were wake up every day. They would put us in groups of 3, 2 writers with a producer, and they'd be like, go, write, make something happen. And yeah, every day we wrote a new song. Sometimes they gave us a bit of inspirational brief, sometimes they didn't, and we wrote music every day. And I used to go to sleep with like lyrics and melodies running through my head, and it was just like a space to be creative that I'd never experienced before. It was, unbelievable. And the one evening, late that night, we were finished for the day. We'd written our song, and myself and Ameen Harron were hanging out in his room where his production stuff was. And we were chatting, and I was saying to him, listen, I've been working on this idea, and I played him what I had for Crazy what turned out to be Crazy. And he goes, wait, play that again? I'm like, okay. So I played it again, and he says, okay, hold on a second. And he like gets onto his headphones, and he's busy. And I'm like, me? He's like, so anyway, a long story short, 3 a.m. happened, and Crazy happened. We had a demo to Crazy by like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Recorded, it was the last day of the camp, and the next day we were meeting at the end of the day after our session that day to listen to all the music we'd created. And we wanted to share the song we'd created, but now we needed a demo vocal because we had like this rough track and I was singing to it.
Yes.
We like 20 minutes before we had to like drive to the listening session. I like into the little studio session we made like in the cupboard, to like get with the clothing around to like dampen the sound. And I lay down the the demo vocal to Crazy. I must actually find it and see where it is. And while we're driving to the listening session, Ameen's got his earphones in the car, and he's like editing it into the track, and it was like so last second. But anyway, long story. they loved the song, and that turned out to be the first release of the camp. So I was very, very, very chuffed and proud that everybody loved the song. Brandon loved it as well. The team loved it. And we released it through Dave Gresham Records. And it was incredibly well received. It was a real push for me. It was pushing me out my comfort zone. And at that stage, I hadn't released anything like that kind of sound. And I just trusted Ameen. And he brought out a different sound in me. And I was so thrilled about it because it gave me a space to explore new. And I think that's what music's about. That's what creativity is about. So crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah. In fact, the way the song was created almost, it kind of mimics the song itself, doesn't it? In terms of the craziness that was involved in actually getting it written, getting it recorded, shall we say, at least.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really amazing. That song also taught me the power of radio.
Yes.
Because it had taken off on a major station in Cape Town, and I went to perform. I was invited to perform at Grand West, and worst nightmare came true while I was on stage, and the song, the microphone cut, and there was no, like, you couldn't hear me singing. So it was like I was singing, but there was like nothing coming through. I was like, what do I do now? Like my worst nightmare came true in front of like thousands and thousands of people. And it turned out to be a worst nightmare dream come true kind of situation.
Because they sang your lyrics back to you.
Yes. Do you remember that?
I saw you talking about it I looked at an interview and you were telling the whole story. I think it's so cool.
God, it was amazing. And I didn't know, like, no one could hear me. You can't scream over a huge PA system. And the next thing, the crowd started screaming the lyrics back to me. I was like, what? Because I was like, how do they know that? But yeah, the power of radio, I was so humbled.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised if you perform that. If you perform Just Doing Me now in Cape Town, you'd probably get the same thing. You'd probably get the same thing.
But as soon as the live performance opens, hey, I'm coming. Absolutely.
And then came Just Saying with Matthew Gold. How was it working with Matthew Gold?
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, Matthew and I. So I wrote Just Saying, also like crazy story. I guess it's the maybe the theme, or I guess it's the excitement of the rush of writing and creativity. But I was in New York and wrote the song with a guy I also just met for the first time, Robbie Rosen from American Idol. And it was one of those late nights. We were finishing the track. I had like the last train to get back to where I was staying before my plane left a few hours later. And also rushed, finished the demo song, and we didn't know what we'd made. And brought it back to South Africa. And I couldn't believe what we had put together. It was such fun. It was such a cool song. And approached Matthew on the song. I remember so well. We met in Joburg while he was here for lunch. And I was like, Matt, need you to listen to this. What do you think? And he listened to like 10 seconds. He's like, cool, I'm down. I was like, but don't you want to listen to the chorus? He's like, no, it's so it was so cool to work with him. He's a great
Matthew's
guy.
Cool though.
No, huge respect for Matt.
Very cool. Know You Better? What was that all about?
Know You Better was written on my first trip to Canada. That was another incredible experience. I mean, I could talk for hours because I feel like I've been so blessed and privileged to have these experiences. But my publisher and I work very closely together, John Fishlock. He's like my music mentor, and John arranged a trip for me. I wanted to go and write overseas, and he has a very close friend in Toronto, Vince, who is also publisher there. And I went across, and the Canadians, I can say, are, with like absolute confidence, are some of the nicest people I've ever met.
So that stereotype is true then.
Oh my
people
word.
say Canadians are super friendly.
They say South Africans are super friendly. So I was like, you can't really beat South Africans. And I went there and I was like, you're all so nice. Like, such nice people. How do you all be so nice? They are just such quality humans there. They really are. I was I was so overwhelmed by the kindness and the generosity and the warmness that I experienced there. It was so authentic and it was so sincere and it was so consistent through everybody I met there. And it was such an honor. It really was. I went over there. Vince was like my personal like everything. He just supported me in every way he could, down to like needing. I don't know. I got very sick. I got like, I must have caught something on the plane or something.
Oh, no.
Because a few days after I got there, I got like the heaviest head cold, and now I'm supposed to write music for like a week and a half, and I record myself, and there's like, sorry, can we start again? I just need to blow my nose.
Oh no.
Yeah, the demos there are also quite entertaining. But yeah, like Vince or Shane, he went to get me like more sucking sweets for my throat and some throat coat tea, which I discovered, which was amazing. It's like the best thing for your throat before you sing. Anyway, sorry, I'm diverting to your question. So let me get back to it. So I worked on that trip with a whole bunch of different writers every day. It was like my own personal songwriting camp experience. Like every day I was driven to a new place in Toronto to write with more amazing people. And one of the guys I wrote with was a producer named Adam Royce, who is unbelievably talented. I was introduced to him as he's the track guy. He just does the tracks. Like he's got it. And he certainly does. And we wrote I Know You Better. It was a day session. We wrote the song, and it turned out to be the first release, and the first of many, I can say. They're coming.
and that makes sense. When you tell that story, it kind of makes sense that we roll into Just Doing Me, because that was also written over there, because you were just doing you in your own space, and being able to be creative and explore. And I guess that's where Just Doing Me comes from.
Absolutely, spot on. Yeah, I was back in Toronto, like living life, grabbing everything I could, loving every second of it. And yeah, I was so inspired. I was just so inspired by the Canadians, by life, by travel, by everything that was around me, and by music. And I wrote Just Doing Me. I must be honest, I think it was like 3 hours. The song was done. Like it just flowed and flowed like so quickly. I met Bobby and Maya Davis in Toronto, in town there, and we went up into the studio and we're like, what are we writing about? And like the next thing, like it just unraveled, and I couldn't. It was the fastest time I've ever written a song, and it was amazing. It was such fun. I felt like the song captured what I was feeling in that moment best way it could.
Well, that's probably why it was so easy to write. It's like, what are we writing now? Let's write about now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's put it into a song.
Exactly. So where did Carol come along with the remix to that?
Oh, yeah. So John said to me, let's play the song to Max and see what he thinks. And we did. And he was like, I got this idea. What do you think? And he sent me this like short clip of what he had in mind. And I was like, yes, go, do, finish now. And yeah, he's so talented, Max. He really is. He gave the song a new life. It was so cool. Yeah, really amazing. So that was Just Doing Me. It just happened, and we put out the remix and Hot FM.
Yeah, I know. Number 2 this week on the CTM Hot Top 40, which is amazing. And I'm so happy for you. And I really, really, really hope it gets to number 1. I really, really do.
Oh, me too. It really has been to number 1 twice.
Yes, pardon? On the SA Top 10.
Yes.
And you could have a double header with it getting to number 1 on the CTM Hot Top 40 as well. Strong competition from Silk Sonic. So we'll wait and see if it does happen. But I really hope. Okay, so before we get on to any new music that you might have, let's quickly talk about what you're doing now. And where did this whole you starting a record label come from?
It kind of happened naturally, I must be honest. So being an independent artist and being interested in music business, I've always been very, very hands-on and involved in my music career, and been driving it and working with incredible team along the way, but been driving it. And I've learned through my own experience along the way what works and what doesn't, and what's required and what's not. And I decided that, well, why not just open my own label and release my music through my label, and on top of that, give people and young artists the platform to release music as well. So I'm thrilled to be able to bring to you very soon a new young artist who is just so incredibly talented. And we've signed her onto our label, and we'll be releasing her. So I'm thrilled. I'm so excited to have this opportunity to develop my own label, my own business, and share more of my music and with the world through that platform. It's a real honor, and it came about in a very natural way, because the music industry's evolved tremendously since 10, 20 years ago, and it keeps evolving. So yes, learning on the journey and growing with it, and just so honored to have that platform.
And who would have thought, when you released Clutch in 2014, you were like new to this, and you're like, so what do I do now? Where do I go from here? How does this all work? And how much you've learned over the next 6 years to eventually get to where you are now.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. I mean, I guess it just shows, what I believe in as a psychologist as well. It's all the journey that we're on. And if you don't start, you won't know.
Exactly.
So give it a shot and follow your dreams, and just try, and you'll pivot and adapt as you go. But if you don't give it a shot, you'll be left wondering what would have been. So exactly. I think it's crazy. I actually haven't thought about it when you put it that way. What would have, however many years ago when I released Clutch, was like, wow, how do I do this? And exactly. It's amazing what we learn.
And I guess a lot of people are paralyzed by the fear of failure. But, if you don't, like you say, if you don't try, you'll never ever know. And then you'll be left wondering, worse, the fear of failure or the fear of regret,
Yeah. So I was recently reminded that I think it's Jordan Peterson who says, if you don't, I'm going to probably butcher it up as I try and remember how to quote him, but the gist of it was basically that if you don't set a goal, or if you set a goal and achieve 1% of the goal, you'll have got further than if you don't set a goal.
Yes.
So, the principle applies in life in every way. And it's hard. I mean, it's not easy, but we got to do it. We got to do what we got to do.
Absolutely.
And love what we do.
So any new music? Have you got something that's, aside from your new mystery artist who we can't know about yet, have you personally got any new music that you're going to be releasing soon?
Yes.
Okay. And can you say any more?
To share it with you. I'm so excited about my new track, and I cannot wait to share it with everyone. It's coming soon. It's ready. We just need to be like, yeah. Yeah, so short answer, absolutely. I cannot wait. I've got lots of new music. Got the new single that's coming. It's going to be dropping soon. I can't tell you exactly when just yet, but it will be out very, very soon. And I'm so excited about this new song as well. I feel like as I release music, it's like I have to keep asking myself, which is my best song? It's like it's a new adventure. So yeah, I'm so excited to release new music. It's all coming.
And album? Are you going to put together a collection of music, or are you kind of going to just continue to release singles?
So definitely going to put together a collection of music. I think the way things have just kind of rolled out over the years, probably for so many different reasons, but it's been I've been releasing singles, but I've definitely got the album coming too.
Okay, cool. Will the album just be sort of from here onwards with unreleased stuff, or will it be going back to the beginning and including Clutch, Crazy, and all of those on the album as well?
It'll be a combo of both. So it won't be like all or nothing. It'll be a combo, what you've just said. Yeah.
Okay. Very, very cool. Just before I let you go, tell us about any hobbies that you might have. Okay, like you have time for hobbies, but do you have any hobbies?
Yeah, absolutely. I love being physically active. So anything that involves physical activity, my favorite things to do are hiking, walking, being outside, yoga, do lots of gym, weightlifting. I love like spending time with friends and family and all the close people in my life. COVID's challenged them somewhat, but yeah, for me, my greatest hobbies pretty much all revolve around physical activity and being outside. There's a rejuvenation and a vigorance that I get from the outdoors and from nature. That's just my happy place.
Absolutely. And are you a daredevil?
Yes.
Okay.
Done bungee. I bungeed off what's it called? Blow crunch.
Oh.
Yeah. Hike the otter. Yeah, I love daredevil kind of things. I'm always the one that everyone's like, can you just not stand so close to the edge of the I'm like, but wait, I want to see. And I was like, Carli, can you just come back?
I love that. Oh,
I have to control myself sometimes.
That's very, very cool. I tell you what, when you come down to Cape Town again, and sort of once we're allowed to kind of go out and do stuff, we should go and do something outdoorsy. I like going zip lining and things like that as well. So
amazing.
Have you done zip lining?
I'm totally down. I've done the zip lining in the Drakensberg, but so many years ago, the canopy tour through the Drakensberg.
Yes, I did also canopy, but it was in Grabo, so it's definitely definitely worth.
Okay, amazing. But yeah, it was so long ago. I'd love to do that kind of stuff again. Okay. I love adventure. I love adventure. It's invigorating and energizing, and yeah, absolutely. So I'm down. Let me know when once the skies open up.
Absolutely. Carli, thank you so much for the chat. It's been really, really good. I just wanted to get a more in-depth sort of overview of your career, and I think we've done that. I think we've covered pretty much everything.
We've covered a fortune. So much for being so interested. That's very kind of you. And thank you so much for the chat. It's such an honor and a privilege to chat to you. And yeah, just thank you for always supporting me and my music. And I cannot wait to see what's next.